I'm starting the record. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Goa SCRT, I extend my warm welcome to all the participants for today's online training on bridge course. As you all know, this is the first day of our bridge course, and the bridge course will continue till 30th of March. The bridge course is divided into 3 sessions, that is from 3 to 4 for grade 5, 4 to 5 for grade 7, and for grade 8, we are going to have it from 5 to 6. The good thing is, yesterday only we have received the circular from DE saying that we are going to reopen and to start with the new academic year in the month of April. So in advance, we are training all the teachers in conducting of bridge course, which we are going to conduct in the month of April. So to begin with, today we have teacher Ziba with us, who is going to conduct today's training for grade 5. So requesting teacher Ziba to kindly take over.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, a lovely afternoon. Hopefully not as warm and humid for most of you, but I totally understand it might be a little awkward. So in case you feel your shutters going down, just take this hand and just give yourself a slight tap, and you'll be good to go. Well, I'd like to start by telling you there's going to be a test of your endurance and patience, because you have to make do with me for the next 45 minutes. So all the best to you with that. The bridge course, well, they're all clear that we first scientific standards in terms of implementation of any because they're coming from the 4th to the 5th. They haven't really had a first-hand experience. So we are on board to make sure that this experience of theirs is engaging, entertaining, and yet very educative and educational. So the purpose of this program is to help students transition smoothly into the new curriculum that aligns with the new education policy 2020. And we're doing this so that we facilitate maximum amount of learning and understanding, and we make sure it's happening at the grassroots level. This bridge course is designed mainly to strengthen their basic language skills, build confidence, and prepare them for learning approach in, in the years to come.
आमंत्रण खाली होतो खाली देऊन गेले तुला पण वरती काहीच आम्हाला माहिती नाही
अरे असं झालं
Kindly switch your mics on. Thank you. So if you've seen, once you get it, or if you've already seen the bridge course manual available online, you will see that it has been constructed for 6 weeks. But as we know, we don't really have that much of time. We have 4 weeks with us. So we are going to be working with this bridge course across 4 weeks. And that being said, I'm sure everyone understands difficulties at every level. Each school would be facing things, problems that are different. So that is why teachers have been given a relaxation to take this bridge course, make it their own, and see how it works in your individual schools, because the level of your child might be different from the level of my child. Today, what we're going to do is briefly go through the activities. Initially, we'll try to understand the mindset behind the activities, the major curricular goals that we are looking at, and what is the broad spectrum outlook and outcome that we want from our 5th standard children. So at the end of these 4 weeks, when we go back to them and what is it we are expecting in terms of improvement in language skill and in terms of improvement in expression of that language and that love for the language. Because if you know, I'm sure it's not only me, teachers across Goa are facing this problem wherein children today prefer to communicate in every other language apart from English. And very soon it's becoming more of a language for the shelf. So how we can break that and, bring it to become joyful, that is what this bridge course is all about. So let me dive straight in. When we talk about the focus of the bridge course for for the fifth standard children, if you go through the activities, you will see that it focuses on three important areas. Okay, the first is communication skills. A lot of the activities in simple ways encourages the child to communicate. And by communicate, I mean express verbally. So you'll see activities wherein they're working in groups, they're working in pairs, they're working individually. And all of these workings encourages them to express themselves. When you are in your class with your fifth standard students, your mindset should be, how can I get my child or how can I get these children to say it out loud and say it in the language of English? Because many of them are able to think, but by the time they articulate and they express it or voice it out, they're too scared because they make too many mistakes. So communication skills is something that is going to be stressed on. As we go through the activities, you will see that it's also encouraging children to think creatively and to think critically. You'll see there are many puzzles. There are completion of stories to be done, encouraging children to think out of the box. So as teachers, or let me rephrase that, as facilitators, because according to the NEP, that is more of what we are and who we are. How can you encourage and enable those children to express themselves and to think creatively? So encourage those weird, wild thoughts, those weird ideas that they might be not so confident to put forth, and encourage them to think creatively, as well as the third important focus that we're going to look at is the gradual development of writing skills. Because for the longest period of time, I think everyone who's a part of our education system has understood and known that writing has been given a lot of importance as opposed to verbal expression or, the listening and speaking of the language. So here we are putting that as a third focus because that is how it's supposed to be. Okay, the four major skills, I don't have to tell you this, I'm sure all of us know this, have gone through this, is first listening, then speaking, followed by reading, and last writing. Okay, so that being said, of course, it is an important skill, at least by the time the child is in the fifth standard, but we will make sure that not a lot of attention is given only to that skill. That's why you will see that for those activities, a lot of it involves them in, just expressing themselves verbally or just working things out in pairs. It's not so much of So the main focus that we will have is moving away from rote learning and engaging in more joyful classroom activity. Okay, just to give you a brief example of this, today we had social science and I teach social science to the sixth standard. And and I remember telling them, during our revision time, I kept telling them, do not learn by heart, do not learn by heart. But as I said that, I knew for a fact that these kids would try to go and try to rote learn because that is what they've been used to for all these years. And you won't believe it was a joy for me because at the end of the paper, after I was done, I went out and I had a couple of kids around there. So I said, so how was your paper? And with a smile on their face, they told me the paper was good because nothing came from the notebook. And for once, ironically, this statement brought joy to my face because that's what the idea of NEP is. Go outside the notebook and to learn subjects holistically. And I had a child that said, teacher, I couldn't learn only all those answers, but today I could write because it came from things that I knew, things that we discussed in class. So I think that joy is very important, not only for children, but also for us as teachers. When you know that what you're imparting, it's being reciprocated and reciprocated. Now let's go to the structure of the bridge program. It will be presented on a screen while we go through it. So I will look at it week-wise because there are 6 activities and 36 activities in all, considering that there are 6 weeks. So we might not be able to delve into each of the activities in detail, but we can just go through as an overview. In case you have any question that's related, maybe you can post it in your message box. If we have time, we will address it. So if we look at week 1, teacher section, bottom, student section. Okay. No, it is like once you go through this, you come back. No.
This one?
No, come downstairs. No, 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 no. Just give us a moment while we spot.
Page 8 it is.
You want me to confirm?
Just check which page I got.
Latest student. It's 30. Oh, the printed page is 19.
Week 1 is page number 19.
Oh.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so we will look at the week in whole and then just skim through the activities. Okay. So if you look at week 1, it is basically building confidence with the language, getting the children to open out and warm up to the language. Okay. So the activities, some of the activities that are here are word games, guessing in terms of pictures. There are crossword puzzles. There's also paragraph completion, share completion. Okay, these activities majorly help students build vocabulary and confidence while keeping learning enjoyable. For instance, the first activity that's presented on your screen, it's fun with words. So basically, it is creating a string of words. So you keep building onto the. If you see, so the teacher can present a word. So if the teacher says carrots, as has been given in your example, then you encourage the child to add another word. So in the second level, you have cut and you have carrots. Then you encourage another group or another pair or another child to add something else. You have chandu, cut, and carrots. And this pyramid can keep extending from the base. So the child doesn't feel the pressure of creating like a fancy word or a big word. If they can do it, great. But if they can't, it's okay. Even as simple as cut or as simple as in or on or the, which starts with the same consonant or letter, will count and deserves appreciation. So this is your first activity. Again, like I said before, it's all about taking it and making it your own. So how best you can present this or do this in the class depends on each one of us. Okay, but the pyramid has been given to us. If we go to the next activity, so just go to the next activity. The second activity, this as I was going through it, I thought was a brilliant idea. When you have a monthly journal, again, you want to make a monthly journal, you want to make a weekly journal just for that week. This could be one activity that walks along with you, maybe throughout your bridge course. You give something and you get something. So as can be seen, different dates, and you have just simple lines there. But some phrases have been put there for them to understand or get an idea of how they could write. So this would be an open expression and also a chance again for a child to think creatively as well as critically as to, okay, what can I put there, in place of this, like what would I want to remember about today's day? Also, it might be, it was my first day in school or anything like that. So this could be carried along till the 30th or till the 31st, or if you think it would be too much for your children, you could have it for a week, and this could be something that they carry along. It could be one of their documents. If we go to activity 3, okay, here is paragraph completion. Well,
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Voice is not audible properly.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, just give us
Please.
a moment. Let's just Are you able to hear me now? Is it better? Is the audio better? Can someone else?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. So like I was saying, everything's not perfect. So is this document, because there is a grammatical error there. If you see, Sayani is an old, should have been woman, but of course that we should make a correction in our respective classrooms. If you go to the next sentence, she lives in a picture of a house is there. So the child has to attempt to write the word house by herself. She has a cock and many hens, many chickens. So likewise, the activity runs. If some of you feel that just this one activity wasn't enough, maybe it has to be supplemented by another example, you can go ahead and do multiple activities in that same manner if you think it is going to benefit your children, your classroom, given the setting of your school. If you look at the picture down, they have to look at the pictures and guess the game. Okay, so the activity is about looking at the picture and guessing the game, and leave room for the children to express in their own words. For example, if they are not able to say tug of war, and and they say pulling of the rope or pulling the rope or something in that context, but you know that the child is making an attempt to express, then you applaud it, but at the same time give the child the correct name of it and say, it is actually called tug of war, but we could also consider this, and it's nice that you've been able to put words together to express the game in your own words. If we move on to the next activity. Okay, so here you have to complete the story. So you can see how the activities are going in, chronology. Writing has come now. Expressive, creative writing has come towards the end. First, it was just about adding words, just about expressing their ideas. Then it got creative. And now finally you're getting a chance for them to actually write. So here you're completing a story. Vijaya is a young girl. She lives with her father, mother, grandmother, and grandfather in a small village. Each day, again, we are not concentrating on the city. So maybe one child is able to write an entire story of 3 paragraphs. Maybe another child is struggling, but has successfully made it to 3 lines. Laudable. So, but that is on us, how we facilitate that growth, how we facilitate, encouragement, so that the child feels safe. Okay, my partner has written a page, but I have written 3 lines, but I've written those 3 lines by myself, and I try to put those words in there by myself. So I think that will lead to a lot of self-esteem, a lot of confidence for that child in the language of English. Moving on to the next activity. Yeah, this is a crossword puzzle. Again, lots of pictures to make it engaging, to make it, look exciting to the children. It's a regular crossword wherein you are given a clue, and to supplement the clue, you are given a picture as well. So the child, works preferably in pairs or in a group, wherein each one does one. So if the first one is attempted by a child, another child could attempt to a cross. And when you work with these kind of games in a group, it takes off the pressure from one child to think, by himself or herself and get everything done. So you have all of them working together, and learning happens. So that was about week 1. You have 6 activities there. Now moving on to week 2, you will see that there is an involvement of real life learning. Okay, as you can see right at the head there, it's written traffic rules. So in week 2, the activities connect language with real life situations. I think it's important for us to understand that this is another important aspect of NLP wherein they want us to broaden our horizons and break down walls when we think of education. For the longest period of time, we have been learning things isolation. And I think NEP is looking forward to stopping that and changing that because learning cannot successfully happen in isolation. Okay, it has to happen on a holistic platform, and that is what you will see happening in week 2. Here, students read about traffic rules, road safety, and they have question on them. There are a few questions asked. So you have a little paragraph on road safety, and then questions that are not technical but simple, which are very important for them to know. For example, even if it's my 4-year-old son, I have to keep telling him, you look for a zebra crossing whenever you cross. Look on both sides of the road. This is basic information for everyone. Okay, so there are simple questions like what should you do before crossing? Why should you not play on the path? Should you hold on to an adult's hand while crossing? Okay, so context, why questions are, of course, thinking, but also encourage, broaden his or her imagination and open up his or her mind because then they're questioning themselves. You're not asking him, what is Ramu wearing or what is Ramu saying? You are encouraging the child to think, why is it? So that somewhere or the other, the conscience or that mind of every child is awakened and the child is also equally responsible and accountable. So this was the first activity. We move, scroll down to the second activity. Okay, so you have a little on following traffic rules, on walking on the footpath, a small note on what it is and why it's important. Then you can see the second activity encompasses just true or false. So there are different facts presented to the child, and the child is, you should always walk on the footpath. The child is given that liberty to think why, whether it should be done or not, if yes, why, and then to go ahead and write whether it's true or false. Is it safe to run while crossing the road? You should use the zebra crossing to cross the road. Wearing dark clothes in the evening makes you more visible. It is safe to play near the road. You should wear headphones while walking on the road. Now here, I think if I were in a class, I would make sure that my children understand these concepts. So I wouldn't go to tell them whether it's a true or false. I would make sure that they that juncture by themselves. But in case they want to know, okay, what is a zebra crossing? Suppose for whatever reason they don't know, go ahead and explain to them. If they don't understand the concept of what is the meaning of wearing dark clothes, because we might have some children in our classes who don't know, then go ahead and facilitate that area of learning. Give them an understanding of that. But whether it should be a true or false, arrive to that answer by himself or by herself. Okay, moving on to the next activity. Okay, so here again related, you should encircle the correct option. What should you do before crossing the road? Where should you walk near the road? Why should you avoid using headphones on the road? Okay, again, if the child needs help with reading of the sentences, the facilitator, the teacher can go ahead and help that child to do so, or help the child to read himself or herself. All right, but come to a juncture of answers by himself. Looking at the next activity, it's on signs. You have to identify following symbols and write their meanings. Okay, so all of it is related to traffic and to road safety. Of course, this activity is basic, like the ladies' restroom, no littering, the gents' restroom, handicapped, because many of us, even adults, fail to acknowledge these signs. So it would be nice to equip our children right on the go.
Just see if you're audible then.
Teachers, am I audible to you? Could someone confirm, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please continue.
Yes.
Okay, so if you can just go down to the other. Okay, here you have some role signals. So they have to take that sign and attach it to it. Again, it takes off the stress from the child to sit and sit with even the prettiest book. Our Gen Z today, the ones who are so taken up by these 20-second, even if you give them an interactive book with lots of pictures, they still find it difficult to sit and read. But when you have just, a few sentences, okay, they're just taking a sign and putting there, okay, no left turn or turn right. It becomes a little interactive for them. And that I feel will somewhere or the other work on that liking for the subject, it'll encourage. Because I believe if a child likes something, forget a child, if any of us really have a liking towards something, it is, it is way easier for us to go forward and achieve it. So that is what we are doing through this, which was we are not pressurizing them. That is why I was just having a chat with Ma'am Sureka before we started. She said, it is not important. We're not laying pressure on, okay, you have to finish so many activities. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. So someone in a school in some particular place might be able to do all 36 activities within 4 weeks. But maybe some other school, you might have to, relax it and do a couple of activities per week, but do them well. Because we are all aware of the size of classrooms that we have. Now, whether it is so or not, we cannot do anything about it right now. But if I try to do the best with what I have to make sure every child participates. And this Rich Course allows that. Okay? Moving on, classify the following as safe or unsafe. All right, that's to do with that. Now, find the error. There are some activities we did as kids. I remember my mom giving us all these magazines which had these spot the error or tell the difference, what's different. Only here we are going one step ahead and we are encouraging the children to either say it out loud or to write it down in legible sentences. Okay, look at the picture and you spot these 8 errors. Okay, maybe we can come back and do this activity. Sounds fun. Moving on to the next. If time permits, we'll do 1 or 2 activities. Okay, then now we're moving into a little more structured, part of language, but yet keeping it very simple in terms of understanding. Countable, uncountable nouns, bananas, lemonade, flour. So just getting the child to understand what is countable and what is not countable. First of all, the meaning of those 2 words, because I'm sure in some classes out there, there would be a handful who might not even know what you mean by countable nouns or uncountable nouns, or even what you mean by nouns. So if you could introduce that concept to them, introduce the concept of what you can count, what you can't count, give them a few examples. I'm sure they would enjoy doing an activity wherein they don't have to write a lot, they just have to put a U or a C in front of a word. Okay, so this activity is about that. Just stating whether it's a countable noun or an uncountable noun. Okay, we come to the last activity of week 2. Come down. Okay. Now here, this is related to the countable, uncountable. Okay, so you're just underlining those particular nouns that are countable. You're circling those that are uncountable. Again, a chance for a child to revise the concept and yet more practice for the child in that. Now, after all these activities, again, activity 6, we see scope for a child to write. All right. So after 5 activities that are just done, engaging the child, activity is stressing on writing. So here you're writing a letter to the traffic police of India to thank them and promise to follow all the traffic rules and stay safe. So the letter has been started for you. And I would not, I don't want to repeat myself, but just lay attention to the same fact wherein quantity is not important. The effort of every child and the quality in that effort is what we are facilitating, is what we are looking for in these 4 weeks before we have them in our classes by June. Okay, so this is a letter. Moving on to week 3. Week 3 aims at developing thinking skills. It shifts to creative thinking and observational skills. Okay, so here, as you can already see, there are matchstick puzzles, there's picture story writing, spotting the difference, imaginative activities like preparing for a trip to the moon. And also an activity where students share songs or stories about the moon and their own mother tongue, highlighting multilingual learning. So you can see how much the spectrum of education is widening, all right, wherein we are encouraging, the appreciation of all languages. So this week is encouraging, enabling students to think creatively and to observe. Looking at the first activity, matchstick skill. Okay, you have to fix the equation. You have to move matchsticks in such a way that you get the correct answer. Now, this activity again can be molded in any manner to suit your situation. You know, you could practically do the activity with the children and, have a little fun element also to it, wherein move things and get the equations done. So week 3, activity 2, again, as I said, spotting the difference, something we have done a lot as kids. It's time to encourage our kids to, do it as well. You spot the difference, but here again, we move one step ahead and encourage the child to express that difference. So if you think the child or your class is not at that level wherein they would be able to write down the differences, you enable them or encourage them to say the differences, okay? Or work in pairs and write, or work in groups and write. So here in picture 1, there is a blue and green balloon. Or in picture 2, there are 2 birds, while in picture 1, there is only 1 bird. So you spot whatever differences you have, but get them to express it, because that is the only validation for us as teachers. All through the bridge course, it's not about, okay, you answer 5 questions, I mark 5 questions, I assess them, and then I know if you know or you don't. A lot of it will come from just observing and from the expression that the child gives you, so that you know, okay, fine, the child has understood, or the child at some point is at par with the. Okay, going down further is a picture story. So you can see, so scroll down. You can see a story presented to you in pictures, and then you have a few clues for you, like a little kite, onion peel. I'm sure a lot of us have already been doing this in our classes of English, and but this is a constructed activity given to you, so you could work with it and have the children put the story together. Again, it doesn't have to be written, could be verbal, could be like an activity, wherein you have, a race and see who finishes first, or, bring in the fun element as and when and however possible. Yet ensuring that learning is happening, yet ensuring that there is an expression of English. Okay, so on the moon, again, this activity, they advise us to do it in pairs. Imagine you're invited by a scientist to spend 10 minutes. Make a list of items that you would like to take with you. Okay, to give them a brief idea. Maybe you could even show them a video of what life is on the moon. The videos that are available, wherein, there are shots of the moon, so that they get a better idea of what would be required, if you ever went to the moon. And just enjoy the creativity that comes to you. Sometimes it might be difficult to enjoy it, thinking of what exactly comes to you, but try to make it a fun thing for them to express themselves. So even if it doesn't make sense factually, but it is language that is being put there, then I think it, deserves attention and deserves credit. Coming to the fifth activity on multilingualism. Okay, so encourage them to sing a song or to share something in their language. I'm sure they will be more than happy. And have them do it in your class. Would be great. And finally, the sixth activity is prepare presentation on any festival related to the moon. Now, when you say presentation, again, as has been said time and again, you're not expected to ask the children to prepare a formal presentation. Now, if you have children who are at that level, great. But in some way, if they could present ideas, related to festivals that are related to the moon, take it, accept it. As long as you know the child is thinking and, creatively and constructively, it should be accepted. Okay, moving to week 4. Now, week 4 moves a little into grammar. We start strengthening grammar and sentence formation. So here students learn about word groups, describing pictures using the present continuous tense. Then there's an introduction of pronouns, opposites, and they also practice independent paragraph writing. So again, if you think your children have reached this level, or you think you can throw in a few of these activities, not all great. If you're able to do all, that's wonderful. But if you're not, then it's still okay. Like, I feel if I were in a class and even if the first 3 weeks have activities that I can do in my class and I feel that expression is happening of language, I would repeat some of those. Repeat as in get more examples that are similar and that I could do in my classroom. Just to strengthen that aspect of my child is having fun and my child is enjoying. I would do it. Then if you go to the activities, so just scroll down here. So you have them working, for example, here you have 2 girls into school. So you have a brief introduction of, the tense. A woman is typing on a computer. So they're just supposed to look at the picture and describe what everyone is doing there. All right. So in pairs or in groups, if each one, suppose they are in groups of 4, then each one does one. So one person does it, then another person does it, then the third and the fourth. So everyone presents. So when you're working alone, you're struggling with 4 sentences. But when you're working as a group, you have 4 sentences ready. Okay, that gives you a sense of confidence. That gives you a sense of accomplishment. Moving on, circle the odd one out. This is again something we have done for fun a lot in our classes. So just to look at one example, cotton, silk, wooden, woolen. All right, so sad, unhappy, thrilled, cheerful. As you're doing it, you could also use this as an opportunity to speak about the words and what they mean. Okay, week 4, the next one is pronouns, introduction to pronouns. Rita is a little girl, Rita studies in grade 3, Rita has many friends. Okay, and it's an example of how pronouns are to be used. You replace Rita because listening to the same thing doesn't sound nice. So instead of Rita, you have an introduction of the word she. So you could maybe take some time to explain this and then move on to the activities. Let's go down. Okay, wherein the child is given an opportunity to fill in the blanks with pronouns. Then the last activity of week 4 is opposites. Okay, wherein you read the following sentences, read out each sentence following the example given to you. You are a young man. The word young has been replaced by old. Opposites is something they do a lot in the primary even. Okay, but here you are encouraging them to write out full sentences, something that we as teachers of English are struggling with a lot. Okay, there's a lot of SMS language that happens in our papers. There's a lot of short forms, unacceptable, incomplete sentences that are coming our way. So here is our chance to very simply introduce these concepts of wherein you are writing in full sentences and you are, writing an entire concept there. Okay, and finally, the last activity of week 4 is independent writing, wherein the child is encouraged to write, on a tiger. So you see, every week has activities and ends with maybe one activity that needs the child to express in paragraphs, which could be done maybe on a Saturday. So the child goes home, has a little time. I don't know about your kids, but I hope my kids do it, because homework is something that never happens. But we could try, have the child write it over the weekend and come submit it, read it out in the class, and have the other children listen to it as well. Now, moving on to week 5, it's concentrating on reading and pronunciation. Okay, if we go through the activities of week 5, we will see the students develop their reading and pronunciation skills. Well, at least we hope they do. And some of the activities that will feature are paragraph completion, anagrams, reading comprehension, possessive pronouns, pronunciation practice, etc. Okay, so just look at some of the activities. The first activity here. Look at the pictures below, use the clues in the help box to fill in the blanks and complete the paragraph. My friend Taranveer told me an interesting thing yesterday. She dashed her friends. So you're giving a child, you're not putting the pressure of an entire paragraph on the child. The child has a paragraph ready, and the child also has options ready. The child also has pictures to back him up. So you're just finding that concept and trying to fill in the blanks. Okay, coming down, moving on to the next activity. Pronunciation. The following words may be said aloud by the teacher for the learners. Okay, so you have hot, had, taste, holiday. This is just one example. I think you can do more examples. And I think when it comes to pronunciation, another very fun activity is and it always works. I've done it multiple times in my classes. Tongue twisters, introducing children. They enjoy the fun of making a fool of themselves, and they laugh and everyone else laughs around them. But, getting the child to say those words, she sells seashells on the seashore. The play of consonants there is beautiful. Okay, then you have anagrams. Anagrams is nothing but taking one word and trying to formulate another word. So you have form, from it you make from. You have left, you have felt. Gas is what I got stuck on. And I was thinking of something and I couldn't think of it. Maybe if you think of it, we could also do this activity. So you have words, you get them to formulate. If this is too short, you can supplement it with your own words, get some more words for them. If you see that one activity is really gone well, you still have time, just pick a few more words just from your mind, add it to the list, and they will have fun working with it. Okay, they can work individually or in pairs or in a group. We move to the next activity of week 5, possessive pronouns. Okay, again, now this you might have to explain the concept to them. Okay, wherein, possessive pronouns indicate ownership or relationship of a thing or a person with a thing or another person. Again, as you're explaining or introducing, please remember one thing, and this has been stressed upon with us as well, is that the child shouldn't feel like he or she is learning another lesson in school. Okay, the whole point of the bridge course, at least in the language of English, is to take away that stress from the child that I have to learn this. So even when we're doing activities like these, I think we should be mindful of how we put it across. So if you go and you start it, put the word pronouns in capital or possessive pronouns and say, okay, today we are going to learn pronouns or possessives, gone. The entire concept, the entire point of the bridge course will fall flat. So even if we are teaching them the tense, okay, even if we are doing, like I remember, in one of the classes when I started with the past, present and future, I did the Simple Simon game. Simple Simon says walk, Simple Simon says do this, Simple Simon says brush your teeth. These actions, they're verbs. Another time I remember I took the guitar to class and we sang an action song, something to do with, even, something basic. So even if you're introducing possessive pronouns or a concept like that, make sure it is done in a manner wherein the concept reaches the child, not the structure of the lesson. Because that is what is important now in the bridge course. As we move on and start with our regular classes, we will have time to, transact these concepts. But right now, we're just giving them a glimpse of it and doing the activities. Moving on is a passage. And following the passage, so if you scroll down,
One second, man, before this,
Yeah.
I'm going to announce. All the participants, I'll be sharing a link in the chat box. You all have to fill it at the end of this session. So please have a look at it. Okay.
Okay, if you come down, there are a couple of passages. And then there are questions, where can trees be found according to the passage? So this again, I would say, like I'm just considering myself with my 5th standard children, whether it would be possible or not, or if there are some other activities that I would give more attention to, keep this for later. If it happens, great, because this involves a lot of reading, or maybe I read it and then have them answer the questions or something like that. Again, how you do it is total freedom has been given to you with the expectation that you will do it in a manner that's pleasing and conforming to the new education policy. So if you could scroll down. Yeah, sure. Okay, so questions pertaining, it's basically a comprehension type of an activity wherein you are trying to, get the child to comprehend the bigger picture, you're not really delving into like the nuances of it. Okay, and interpreting ideas. What is the difference between plants and trees? Name a tree which has roots that grow from branches. Again, see, there's a very interdisciplinary aspect, if you see. Okay, you're moving towards a scientific approach of a concept. But again, with a lot of working of your language. There's a lot of language play. Okay, and inferring meanings from the text. Why does a passage describe a neem tree as a magical medicine tree? Okay, what does the passage suggest you do if you see someone harming a tree? Again, these questions are very open-ended, giving the child a lot of room to, think first and then express him or herself. So that flexibility the child has to experience in the first initial days. The minute the child feels, okay, I'm safe here, I can say what I want, even if it's correct yet, I can just say it, and teacher will accept it, or miss will accept it, and she will correct me if needed. This sort of a confidence has to be built in the initial days. That's when you'll see all your activities going, very successfully. Moving on to week 5, 6, read the colors but not the words. Now, I had a lovely video to actually do it with you. I mean, that was if time permitted. But due to copyrights, I won't be able to, play that video. But what I can do is, even you can do it. If you just go online, you will find multiple videos. And it's a fun game, believe me, even for us. Because I had fun sitting and doing it myself. Okay, this next activity, wherein you read, you say the color, you don't read the color. Okay, if we have time, this is the activity we're going to do. Okay, maybe a couple of you could just try it. For example, you have yellow written, but the color is green. So you say blue, yellow, blue, purple, pink, black, green, black, purple, pink. See, I'm still smiling. This activity is fun. So if you can do this in your classes, it'll be fun for the kids, and believe me, you'll also have fun. This is a fun activity. Moving on to the next activity. Okay, these are an introduction to games. Okay, so a chance for you to discuss and facilitate discussion actually in your classes amidst the children, whether they have played any of these games. Do they recognize these games? Do you enjoy playing these games? What are these games? Or what are the games you normally play? Apart from, of course, all the video games, because today kids mostly play only that. So you tell them, apart from video games, what are the other games that you play? And what do you enjoy? Why do you enjoy them? Okay, so you just discuss. You're just getting them to express. So I think here, I had done this lovely paper on action research, and in that we had done Kagan structures. So in that, Kagan, who is the main person, he speaks about something called round robin. Okay, wherein you have 4 participants in one group, and everyone goes in order and expresses himself or herself. So you cannot break the order, and every question that comes to you goes in that same order. With this, what happens is that teacher is sure that everyone is speaking, because I'm sure we have also seen, I've seen it in my classes, you must have seen it in your classes. It happens that the stronger children very naturally overshadow the, maybe the average ones or the weaker ones. So strong children are important because they are the initiators. They start the discussion. But with activities that you do based on round robin, you are ensuring that every child has his turn and says something, speaks something, and expresses in some way or the other. Okay, so this was one activity. Okay, now here you could also have them, if you think your kids are up for it, an entire description of a game. Maybe the games that they like, the number of players, the material needed, what are the rules, the fouls. This they are very aware of, they enjoy it. So if they're up for it, maybe only a verbal thing, or if they are, you can get it done in a return manner, then the return thing. Moving on to the next activity, number 3, you combine the following sentences as indicated in the example. I have some clothes, I want to wash them. I have some clothes to wash. Okay, so if you think by week 4, your child or your children have come to this level of expression, go ahead with this activity and help them to enable them to, join two sentences to make one. Okay, moving on to the next activity. Yeah. Okay, here you have a poem. Okay, you have a poem, a very simple poem, and come to the end of it. Okay, and based on that, you have some questions. Okay, again, now week 6 totally depends on whether your children have reached that level of comprehension and are able to express themselves in that. Yeah, okay. All right, so this is based on that. Then the frogs homophone hunt. So you can introduce the concept of homophones if you're ready for it. Like 2 and 2 and 2, how you have similar sounding words, but they are spelled differently, and the use of them. Now this again depends on week 6, if you go through the activities, all depends on the level of your children. If you feel you can challenge a few, then let them go ahead with it. But again, they're going ahead with it without burdening anyone. Come down to the last one. Okay, this and the last activity of week 6, rhyming words. Okay, this is something they are very familiar with. Rhyming words. So I just have a couple of minutes, so I'd like to wrap this up. Most importantly, make sure that learning in your classrooms is fun. So encourage discussion in every possible manner. Ask open-ended questions which don't have one or two correct answers, or multiple people can express in multiple ways. Allow children to speak. Support pair work and group work. I know as a teacher myself, it might get difficult in terms of noise, but this is something that is needed. Okay, encourage students to now as the play part is happening, to just give you a few tips to make sure that learning of the language is happening, because we as teachers have to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so encourage students to speak in full sentences, use pair work and group activities, and make sure that language expression is in English only. Allow students to use their imagination, especially in writing tasks, and more so focus on participation and engagement. I think this is key to the entire bridge course. It is very, very important for us to make sure that every child at every point is participating and engaging. Whether or not he is successfully class is not important, but we should be able to engage, make sure the child is engaging. To conclude, the grade 5 bridge program is an important step in preparing our students for the new learning framework. Now, through these weeks, whatever weeks we have, the 4 weeks, students will strengthen their language skills, thinking abilities, and confidence in communication. They should be able to. If we implement these activities thoughtfully, we can definitely make their transition into grade 5 English smooth, enjoyable, and engaging. And so much so that when they come back in June, they should be more than happy and, wishfully wait.
Excuse me.